we're excited to officially introduce Penguin into our ecosystem and show how their Stratus platform is changing the game for reliability at the edge. So today we're going to be walking through what fault tolerance really means, why continuous availability is a non-negotiable in a lot of OT environments, and how Penguin solutions deliver a lot of simplicity, resilience, and true always-on operations. Of course, as many of you know, industries operating at the edge, like manufacturing, energy, critical infrastructure, they don't just face downtime as an inconvenience. Every minute offline can mean lost revenue, compliancy risks, or even safety hazards. And that's why fault tolerance and continuous availability aren't just nice to haves anymore for some of these industries. They're quite essential. And this is also why we've brought Penguin Solutions on to help businesses tackle this real challenge. Before we do get into it though, joining us today is Hayden and Kevin from Penguin Solutions, who will be talking you through the solutions, going into a deep dive and sharing their insights on how Penguin enables this always-on operation. I will let them introduce themselves in a quick moment, but before we do start, we're just going to run through some quick housekeeping. Firstly, if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments box on the side, the questions box. We will either answer them throughout the webinar or once the webinar has ended. This session will, of course, be recorded as well. So if you did miss something, you want to watch it again, or you need to send this through to a colleague who may have missed it, the recording will be available within 24 hours after the webinar has finished. So with that, we'll get started. I'll hand it over to you, Hayden and Kevin. Thank you so much for joining us today. We do really appreciate your time to guide us through the Stratus platform and the Penguin's solution story. So take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. Appreciate the introduction. My name's Hayden Thorogood. I'm the Country Manager for Penguin Solutions, Australia, New Zealand, and the Philippines. And my colleague who will be doing a demo towards the end, time permitting, is Kevin Feng, the technical consultant for those regions as well. I'm just going to share my screen if someone can confirm that that is up and running as it should be. Excellent. Away we go. So thank you for your time today, everyone. I'm going to introduce you to the Penguin Solutions Stratus portfolio. We're fault tolerant. We've been in the industry for many years, so I'll give you a bit of background. We're not a startup. We're a very well-versed fault tolerant provider for over 40 years. So let's jump into it and share. So myself to the left, Kevin in the middle, and Marcus, thank you for that introduction. Greatly appreciated. So Stratus are purpose-built server infrastructure, purpose-built for zero-touch computing and providing continuous availability. Continuous availability we summarize as fault tolerant, as in our systems will not let your software applications down based on hardware failure. And we'll explain that a bit more and a bit further as we go through this, but we pride all our products on 3 keywords that sum up what we do as a solution that comes out of the box. We're simple, we're protected, and we're autonomous. Simple, meaning IT people and even OT personnel are enabled. Now, OT personnel are coming into worlds where software applications and smart devices on the plant floor are requiring more of a requirement from the software application. And it's becoming mission critical to keep their businesses running or manufacturing going. So when things go down, it could be very high risk to your business. Now, whether that's a revenue or a reputation or anything that could impact your business when things go wrong and things stop. So for over 40 years, Stratus has been servicing the globe, and we have over 11,000 platforms deployed globally and still growing today. And most of our customers are repeat return customers here as well. Once they see us and use us, their business aligns around us with the simplicity and the enablement that it gives their broader business as well. On the right-hand side, the product there, the ZTC Endurance, that's our latest, most smartest product that we have, and that's providing 7 nines of availability. The only reason why it's not 100% is because human error, unfortunately, still does occur. But that's where our autonomous nature of these products come into it. We want to remove as much human interaction and ensuring your business continuous availability as possible. And that's where the smarts are in the box, technology leading. So here's a bit of a quick cheeky background on us. In 1980 or 1978, we started building these fault-tolerant solutions, and you can see they were quite sizable. Now we go all the way to the right on our historical, we have our endurance, which is all our 40 years and lessons learned now in a single box with over 500 data points being monitored through here. And we're actually going to a model where it's preventive predictive. So we're actually moving the workload before failure has even impacted. So we're now ahead of the curve rather than just reacting when a fault even occurs now. So some really intelligent stuff. As I said before, we're not a startup. We are a very well-versed product globally and with over hundreds and hundreds of deployments already in Australia and New Zealand. What industries do we serve? Well, there's a list on the screen right now, but it's really any business today that deems their software applications to be mission critical, as in cannot afford downtime, whether it be data collection as a requirement, infrastructure as a requirement, water, wastewater, those things can't impact. Transportation, what happens if your train doesn't turn up on time? Your risk of reputation is quite big. Everyone's day gets thrown out. It's really impactful. We saw when Optus went down a few years ago now, how many businesses were impacted when a significant part of their business just all of a sudden turned off. So hopefully that gives some understanding. We're not shelled into a specific industry. We're really that advised host or that certified fault-tolerant footprint where if you deem software applications to be mission critical and can't afford downtime, we're the conversation you need to be having. So businesses are moving. They're more reliant on software today than they have ever been before, and AI coming into the fold and all these new things. We're going to a smarter, more software-based business to get our end goals, and they're transforming. They're going digital, and the customers are trying to achieve these things in their next steps in this digital transformation. Enterprise visibility, visualization, making sure that they can share their data, making sure they haven't lost any of their data, so their intelligence is at the top. They want to remove as much risk mitigation as they can. They want to keep profitability as high as it can, and they want to run their businesses as lean as they can as well. So automation plays a very, very strong part in that too. So there's a couple more on the list there. I don't want to read the screen, but you know, these are what the customers are looking for when they're going through digital transformation. Now, as they're doing this, here's the challenges that they're coming up against. They're relying on their software applications to be up. That means they're relying on their footprint that's hosting it to be there for them when they need. So they're facing downtime. Now, downtime is a two-hit. It's the unplanned, where it's failed and we have to react now, but they also have to schedule a restoration phase. So it's actually 2 points of downtime when failure occurs. That means you have to stop your operations twice to fix, and then also to react when failure originally occurred as well. More and more, we're getting compliance on data. We're wanting to make sure our business decisions are real. We're wanting to make sure that our manufacturings are getting that true return on investment, so they're running at 100%, not having unplanned downtimes come through there as well. Because our boxes are on-prem, we want to remove that connectivity or latency issue if you're coming in and out the cloud. So hybrid systems are coming more common through that architecture as well. Also, the cost of running on the cloud. People are starting to realize, hey, look, this is a rather expensive way of doing things. Maybe we need to adapt. Maybe we need to manage our data at the edge before we take it up there. So they're wanting some compute level before they go to the cloud as well. OT. The OT personnel are becoming more embedded in that IT space. We need simplified environments for these guys to come. So if our hardware does fail, we're a hot swappable modular system. Not only are we enabling your OT guys, but it could be your operators in remote locations as well. Pull out the module that has failed, plug the module back in that has been sent out to replace, and our systems self-synchronize back to 100% health. That's from the firmware up to anything that else is required and synchronizing with the primary system that is still up and running. And there's also cybersecurity risks here as well. You know, that is becoming a high demand. Now, is it your software sitting on top that can't go down, or do you need to lock down your infrastructure? We do both of those things with quite competence, and, you know, we're purpose-built, designed for these applications to make sure we're servicing your business as we say we're going to do it. And that's providing fault tolerance and insurance to making sure your business is up and running. So we did a survey, the link's down the bottom, and this is what the survey come back. I should say this survey was sourced from online, but you can see on the left-hand side, top of the tree is IT hardware failure. IT network failure was closely behind as well. So these are the physical things that are failing over time and impacting business quite heavily. So we follow the blue things. These are what the physical or human infrastructures are having impacts on, right? And then you've got the aqua one there around the cyber attacks or whatever it may be. Now, with those things that are happening on site, the bars on the left-hand side is how these are impacting businesses today. You're impacting our operations, right? That could be a revenue impact. That could be a risk of your brand and reputation when things go wrong, depending what industry you're serving or who your customer base is. There's also some compliance. What happens to loss of data when things go down and we can't report correctly, whether it's an EPA or tracking meat down a manufacturing facility or whatever it may be. Businesses are more reliant on collecting data even to make intelligent business decisions. Gaps in data could be the difference between that 2-3% in being more profitable through the year as well. But you can run down the list there. So when things fall over, how is your business going to be impacted? And if your hardware falls over, what does it mean to your business? We're really the solution that says, hey, look, we're not going to let you fall over. In fact, if hardware failure does occur, your operators or your applications running on top of our boxes will not even know that it's happened. It's all about the alarm and notifications to react, to self-heal underneath without your business stopping or coming to a standstill because of hardware failure. Just going through those. Right, here's our two key products we're championing through Wavelink. Left-hand side, the Stratus ZTC Endurance, industrialized, ruggedized box. And then on the right-hand side is the Stratus ZTC Endurance. This is from small to enterprise size application running on here as well. We have a lot of customers that see us and understand us and they go, why isn't the rest of my business sitting on this box at the same time as well? It makes sense. If you're looking to protect your business, a fault-tolerant footprint could be a key part in ensuring your business doesn't get impacted in unwanted ways. So all of our solutions that we come, they're deemed on a zero touch. ZTC, zero touch computing, right? Specifically aimed for mission critical. Again, repeating myself here, simple, protected, autonomous. All of our systems, as they go to work for you, they are self-monitoring. They're continually making sure that I am in a fault-tolerant status, and then if something goes wrong, they're also self-diagnosing. That means I'm going to tell you what the fault is. If I'm able to, I'm going to tell you what to do next to rectify it. Dashboards for how to set up and configure these things, they're very visual. It's almost like a one-to-one representation of what my hardware is doing in the field, displayed on a screen so I can assist. Again, making life easy for IT guys and really enabling OT or operators or anyone else that may be to be able to understand what it is and take the next steps to bring the system back to 100% health. We really are the game changer through that junction. So who's our competitors? What landscape do we play in? A simplex standalone PC or laptops, you got some pretty high risk right there if that falls over. Hot standby or cold standby, warp standby, there's still a HA environment, meaning HA standing for high availability. There is still a fallover of machine, and in this case, is potentially human involvement to bring it back up in that next layer through there. And then we have a cluster HA. That is pretty common across all industries, but this is your VM will still fall over and it will still want to fire up in another location. Okay, we have seen this, and this is probably the competitive landscape that we really play in, because here we are sitting above it. We are the fault-tolerant architecture that won't let your applications fall over. So we'll do a little simulate. These green bars mean uptime and running without interruption. We can see here hardware failure has occurred. Now the red line sits in front of the greens for the simplex, the hot standby, and the cluster. It means failure has impacted your operations. How long for? It could be a variable based on what it may be, but I can tell you your operators have lost visibility, they have lost control, and you have lost data through that process, however long it has been. In a cluster environment, because your VMs have to open up again, your operators have to log back in. We have seen multiple times that the real world log back in process hasn't been as well managed as it should be. And we've had operators on mine sites standing there going, I don't know what the login is. The next guy doesn't start until 9 o'clock in the morning. This has happened at 2 o'clock in the morning. So their downtime has been extended due to the login process through a HA changeover cluster as well. And on the fault tolerant, you see our green line stays on top of that fault hardware. Your operators, your applications running up there, no impact at all. More often than not, we see these people not even know that hardware failure has occurred. What it is in the back end is we set up our alarm notifications to message those who need to react to bring the system back to 100% health. Now that could be an API into your broader business systems, an OPC connection into your SCADA platform to go into those standardized notification systems you have in your business. We can have email alerts, SNMP traps. It's all about enabling you at this point to make sure we're reacting, but not impacting on your operations through there. Now, here's the other flip side that no one really talks about with hardware failure. It's a restoration phase. I need to plan a downtime, whether it's midnight on a Saturday night or a Sunday night. It's a cost to do. It's still another impact to your business. And it also takes time to recommission these things as well. Depending on what the setup is, does your IT guy know the system? Does he have to reverse engineer it to understand it? But again, our green line stays on top. We're modular, we're hot swappable, pull the faulted unit out, plug the new one back in, and our system will self-synchronize from firmware up, go back to 100% health, 100% in the background without interrupting your operations all over again. So we really do, as we say, we're going to keep your applications up and running and provide fault tolerance without any interruption whatsoever through this junction. And in doing so, systems recover, they come back to life, and all of this management takes place. Our solutions, we've provided you no outages. We've provided you no data loss. The remediation didn't require any high IT skill sets to do. There's no IT command lines to recover from any faulted hardware. It's literally pull one out, plug the new one back in. Your operator has stayed in control the whole time. Your operations haven't been impacted whatsoever. Really strong for remote locations as well. So where IT skill sets aren't available as well, we're a very strong play in being adopted through there as well. Where the other side of it, outage does occur. In-flight data is lost. Operators are disconnected. And they do have to go through the process of logging back in through. You will require IT personnel. Generally, they operate in a 9 to 5 world. Is your business suitable to wait for an IT guy to be available to come in and do that as well? And sometimes the remediation is very complex. A new IT guy not knowing how the system was before, it might take him a little bit longer to understand, to reverse engineer, to take those next steps forwards as well. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight here into the, the real world complications and how simple we can make it as well. Blue box point is your first point of downtime, and your second box that's coming up here is your planned second point of downtime. Your businesses are getting interrupted twice with hardware failure. We'll highlight these again. again, with the hardware failure, we haven't impacted your operations. And again, with the restoration phase, we haven't impacted your operations. We do keep it all up and running and as it should be to keep your business moving in the right direction. So a scenario, we're looking at a cluster environment here. You can see there's multiple servers sitting across multiple network switches. Again, you've got multiple points of potential failures that can come up here. And then we can go down and connect to a remote SAN as required as well. Each one of your servers has its own hypervisor sitting on top as well. So think about costs here as well. 3 versions of VMware, what does that cost to deploy these days? There is variance in hypervisors, so this is just a scenario. And then we've got our applications that's sitting on top. Now in this scenario, you're going to have to deploy redundant licensing as well. What does that cost for your business? Is there a smarter way to do it if we can ensure your applications don't go down and you move to technology to make life simple for you? So the next flick over here is with our ZTC Endurance hosting it. We only have one hypervisor here. Now it could be VMware. We're compatible with Windows Bare Metal, Windows Hyper-V, or Red Hat Linux KVM as well. So there is variance, and we are getting demand from the industry to go, can we have this hypervisor on there too? So we do have a roadmap of future developments as well. But if you have a look at the top up there, redundant licenses no longer required. Because applications are not needing redundancy anymore, there's high cost savings in doing it in this manner. We've also made your engineering team's life easier because they only have to keep one application aligned, not the secondary anymore. So there's knock-on costs continually if you look into the effectiveness and the efficiency we provide within your business as well. And again, all our boxes are purpose-built to do this hosting of fault tolerance. 40 years in this box in our ZTC Endurance. We are not a startup. We are tried and tested and serving the industry very well through here. Our 2 products again, let's have a little bit of a snapshot at features and benefits. So our ZTC Edge, it's a ruggedized, industrialized box. There's no moving parts here. I think it's IP40 as a rating. So we're looking to go in the control boards on the plant floor or into metro stations where it needs that little bit ruggedized environment there as well. There's also 2 nodes here that are required to provide fault tolerance, right? One of these boxes by itself is a ruggedized PC, but 2 of them together share a common hypervisor over the top, and your applications sit on top of that, and that is how you get a fault tolerance from our solution. Because there's 2 nodes doing that, you also have geo-separation available. So sometimes insurance requirements deem, hey, look, you can't have a risk of your applications being down here. If the fire builds, you need to have it also available somewhere else. So we're able to separate the workloads as required with this solution as well. There is a specification limit on this box. And once you go higher or out of those specs, we then start to go into our ZTC Endurance as a solution. So what are those specs? We got 20 vCPU in here, 64 gig of RAM, and 2 terabytes of SSD sitting in here as well. We have a very broad temperature range, -20 to 60 degrees. And because we're also looking to go into the control boards and into that industrial play space, we're also 9 volt to 36 volt DC compatible. Yes, they do come with a power pack to plug into a 240 volt socket as well, but we can DIN rail mount these and we can have them connected to your 24 DC bus, right? And the hypervisor for these boxes is embedded with our solution. It's a Stratus redundant Linux hypervisor with a perpetual license base, which is included in this package when you purchase Stratus ZTC Edge. Let's have a look at our Endurance, our most intelligent product by far. We're going into the preventative predictive model. Our CPUs work on a smart exchange. That is a patent term from Stratus. And what it is we're looking at our CPU, both of them, at the same time, but only one is running the workload. With over 500 data points being monitored, we're looking for things of, this is abnormal operation. We have some transient faults happening here. hey, I'm not comfortable with this workload sitting on here anymore. Let's move it to the other side and continue to test and self-heal if possible to ensure that I'm not going to fail and let down this business operation, right? So all the time, every component in this, and we're all modular. I think there's 7 modules in this system. There's 2 power supplies, 2 I/O modules, 2 disk modules, 6 disks that can be pulled out, and 2 CPUs as well that can be done. So we're doubling all the hardware in our design to ensure uptime. Very, very simple, hot swappable, you name it. We're very, very simple. Now these boxes can go quite small to quite large. If you look at the 3110 on the left-hand side here, we're looking at 24 CPU, starting at 24 GB, all the way up to 256 GB in memory, and then 1.6 terabyte, all the way up to 35 terabytes of disk space through here as well. And then we can go all the way up to our biggest unit here, the 9110, which starts at 64 cores CPU, all the way up to 128 threads, 128 vCPU, my apologies. And then all the way up to 1,000 or a terabyte of memory sitting through here as well. Okay, so we are scalable. Most of our solutions are customized, and we work with our customers to go, what is your application demands? Let's specify our solutions based on your needs. And then we also like to future-proof as well. The chipsets that are running in Endurance are the latest gens. They're really high work and payload systems, and they can even handle some of the new AI applications and their CPU requirements through there as well. So we are built to go last a long time. And I guess that comes to the next thing is both our ZTC Edge and our ZTC Endurance, the average life cycles here are 7 to 10 years. So twice as long as a standard third-party commodity infrastructure that you're probably using today. We are built for long life and ensuring uptime. So again, another return on investment when you're buying hardware. You can get 7 to 10 years out of our boxes, no issues whatsoever. We have scenarios where our boxes have been used for over 20 years, over 30 years. And I'm happy to tell those stories if you'd like to follow that up as well. We have a proof of concept, which I'd like to share. And it's because we are an eco-fabric ready Fortinet partner as well. So globally, we have a Fortinet relationship, which makes our connection with Wavelength even more special. And we have this set up at our customer experience center. And we have proven that moving away from the Fortinet HA hardware and going to software installed on a fault-tolerant application impacts you less when failure does occur on the hardware components, ensuring your cybersecurity software is up and running and doing what you're expecting it to do and protect your business as well. So this is one scenario, everything. We also have another one where Clarity's on it, and we work with many other partners hosting their software to do proof of concepts and ensure that uptime is real and it's all tried and tested. So you're taking a vote of confidence in going forward, in seeing it, touching and feeling it, and know what you're getting and feeling like this is the best step forward for you and your business. So I'll stop sharing there. What I'll do is, if I could find my mouse, forgive me, I will mute myself and hand it over to Kevin, and we will get him to do a quick introduction demo on the ZTC Edge, just so you can see our dashboard in play and how intuitive it is, because we'll do a scenario failure of the hardware as well. So I'll just mute myself.
Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome to our demo. Here I'd like to share the interface of our ZTC Edge system. As Hayden has illustrated before, the system is consisted of 2 nodes, 2 identical nodes, and there is the common hypervisor, which is our Stratus redundant Linux hypervisor sitting on top. And then we can deploy multiple virtual machines to run on the system as a fault-tolerant protected platform. Now, the benefit of the system is that when any VM's experience is running and you have any node experiencing hardware or networking failures, the virtual machines will be able to continue to run on the surviving node with no interruptions and no in-flight data loss. So to the right-hand side, we have created two virtual machines. One is the full fault-tolerant virtual machine, and the other is the standard high availability virtual machine. So if we interrupt or simulate a fault on one of the nodes, we'll be able to see our fault-tolerant virtual machine continues to run with no interruptions. And then, as you can see, the simulated a high availability virtual machine, which is the same grade as your typical HA cluster, will be restarted and on the surviving node. As you can see on the dashboard, the node 1 has lost communication, has gone down, and node 0 continues to run your operations. To the right-hand side, we can see the bottom right corner is your high availability VM, which has restarted. Now your operators have lost communication and lost control to the application, and you are now forced to relog into the system. This could happen in the middle of the night, and your operators may or may not remember the password correctly, and then that will mean prolonged, loss of control or loss to your access. So once we log in, we'll also see that the system has rebooted previously from a unplanned restart. Now that may mean your database may have some corruptions. You will miss data from your applications, and those will in turn translate to loss of business. So as you can see on the left, our dashboard are intuitively visible. You can see all the alarms that's being generated. And at this point, your operators will be alerted to investigate on what's wrong with this node. And with the system under service contract, we can send you a replacement node, or you can use your on-site spares to replace that node. All you need to do is make sure your technician remembers the same networking ports that's being connected to the faulty node and replace with a spare. After the replacement is being powered up, the system will actually synchronize all the data and all the configuration from node 0 and synchronize it back to node 1. And while all that is happening, your guest virtual machines and workloads remains operational with no impact. So the system will take some time to synchronize the data, but that your operations remains fully operational. Yeah, is that so? That we'll wait for the system to synchronize. So here we can see in the alert histories, we also have timestamps of all the events that has happened. We have lost communication to node 1. We have disconnect from the networking to node 1. And when the system is being restored, you also have another set of timestamps to indicate the system has been synchronized back to 100%. When this issue has been resolved in the dashboard, the alarms will disappear as well. So if we go to the virtual machines, we'll see now all the virtual machines are running on node 0, which is the surviving node. And when node 1 comes back to operations, it will synchronize with node 0 and synchronize all the data and configurations. So if we go to the physical machine state, the physical node 1 is still in unreachable state. We are now putting it back to service. Sorry, we're now replacing a node and putting it back to service. We'll wait for it to power up, and then we'll see it change from unreachable to booting and to running. As you can see, it has transitioned the state from unreachable to booting. As you're aware, all you need to do is to physically replace that node. There's no configuration, no preparation, and no IT involvement actually needed for restoring the system back to 100% health. That alleviates a lot of burdens from your OT team and really simplifies the entire restoration process.
Alrighty.
So with some time, the system will synchronize back to this full 100%. And as you can see on the top right, your production never misses a beat.
Excellent, Kevin. Thanks for that. So that's just a matter of time before that field back to 100% health. I'll hand it back to Marcus. So thanks kindly for your time today, everyone. Greatly appreciate it. All I can say is reach out to the Wavelink team if you want to know more. We have a customer experience center readily available to get hands-on. I will encourage the hands-on environment is where you really do understand how simple, easy, and empowering utilizing Stratus in your organization will be for you. So thank you, Marcus.
Thank you so much, Hayden and Kevin. Thank you again for joining us today for that really good webinar. For all of the attendees, if you did put a question into the question box, we are going to endeavor to get back to you with an answer. Thank you all for being part of the Penguin Solutions' very first channel launch webinar. It's an exciting milestone and we're glad that you could join us for it. Once again, big thank you to Kevin and Hayden for their time today and for all of you for taking the time out of your day to connect with us. This is, of course, just the start of Penguin's journey in our channel, and we're looking forward to working with Penguin on the opportunities ahead. We'll be sharing follow-up materials and ways to get involved, so keep an eye out in your inbox. We'll also be sending you a feedback link if you could please help us out so we could improve for the next one. On behalf of the Wavelink and the Penguin team, thank you again for joining us today, and we will be seeing you in the next session.